Hey guys, welcome back. BTCKR here, and we're back with one of our multiplayer teams. Seems like the timing is just right for this one, since Lantern Hal Jordan is the challenge character this week, and Bounty Hunter Lobo is still available in Survivor Pack. Both of them, you can get them without spending real money. Both of them are pretty darn good. And we're making an effort with this multiplayer team to get away from always using N52 Wonder Woman, because she really is that good and that powerful. Bounty Hunter Lobo seems like he'd be kind of perfect in a post-Tantu Totem world, where having a special specialist that drops in and does a special 2 is a fixture on most teams. If you look at his passive Hooked, when Lobo performs special 2, the enemy cannot tag out until the fire damage over time runs its course. Every successful special 2 makes the next special 2 damage and damage over time length go up by 20%. Which is kind of perfect, right? His special 2 is full value for somebody with his damage stat, despite having a status effect, in this case damage over time. Every special 2 does more and more damage, and then it does more and more damage over time. So you're thinking one-man wrecking crew, right? His problem is that when you gear him with Tantu Totem and Master's Death Cart for the 2 bars of power, you run into his first limitation, or at least the first limitation that's unique to him and not an issue with any special specialist. The first hit in his special 2 has pretty bad range. It's too short. It doesn't reach very far. And that wouldn't be a problem if his first hit didn't do so much of his special 2 damage. If you don't worry about it and you let that first hit whiff, then his special 2 a lot of times won't do enough damage to knock out his opponent, meaning he doesn't get his power back, meaning you have to tag him back out. And the answer to that is to wait until Master's Death Cart finishes. You lose that separation and you time it so that the opponent isn't blocking. Oh, I should mention about the fight that we just watched. So, 30% chance to blink with Mother Box, and the opponent blinks 3 out of 4 times, right? But Astro Harness, perfect. Lantern Hal Jordan took care of it exactly like we expected, shattering all the gears, including Astro Harness. So, what was I saying? Master's Death Cart. So you drop in, shoves the opponent away, he's out of range of your special 2. So if you wait until Master's Death Cart finishes, you lose that separation, and you time it so that the opponent isn't blocking. Which works great, unless your opponent has power bars already, when they can potentially hit you first. So that's the danger, which is why we've got Lantern Hal Jordan. And we've talked about him lots before, and how when the devs nerfed him, they made him less effective and harder to use. So his passive is Red Lantern, Rage, and special attacks and super move use health instead of power. Red Lantern Hal Jordan cannot be healed. So even though he uses health for specials, his power bar still has to have the bars of power present before he can use it, right? So after he's used it, done a special, it takes a moment for his power to sort of replenish itself. The cool thing is, oh, that fight was pretty fast too. All right, so I should point out Gaslight Batman, he was an entry hazard, so we didn't want to tag in Lobo immediately. Flash buys us time so that once Batman is out, Lobo gets to take over. And what was pretty impressive was that the first hit of his special 2 against, or one hit of his special 2 against static was 82,000, which is pretty good. So, Lantern Hal Jordan. If you use him with Claw of Horse and Enchantress companion gear to make him a gear stripper, that pause that you normally have to wait for his power to come back, it's not a bug, but it becomes a feature. We're waiting anyways, so that we can time the second special right for the skulls to remove every piece of gear off the opponent. Oh, that was a little too quick. Again, 82,000 damage on the first hit of a special that's only supposed to do 90,000 damage total when it doesn't crit. Pretty good. Okay, so Lantern Hal Jordan, stripping gears, right. We're waiting anyways. So each skull, as it flies in, counts as a chance to shatter gear if we're in the middle of doing a special one when the skulls are flying. So you don't want to do them like really quickly in a row anyways. You want to do them timed right so that you're getting all 3 of the opponent's gears shattered. There's 1, for example. And there's 2, 3, all gone. And if you give Astro Harness as Hal Jordan's third gear, you get a bunch of free special ones as soon as he tags in that cost you no health. And in that fight, the first hit on Cyborg was only 76,000. And I tagged out Lobo a little too early, prematurely, actually, against Raven, thinking that she would steal her power. But there was enough of his special 2 left that she didn't steal her power. And then when he tagged back in, first hit against Raven was 82,000 again. And the second hit was 26, so you're doing over 100,000 damage on 2 of the 4 hits. And then you still get damage over time, which is pretty darn good. So what we just saw there was Arkham Knight Batman did use his Wing Tech boost to start with 2 bars, and it was perfect. Red Lantern Hal Jordan came in, kept him from using it, stole some of the power anyways, and it's pretty good. Now, I guess we could tag out Lobo right here, but it's kind of fun to watch him bleed out or just lose all his health with damage over time. Yeah. So the other advantage of using the skulls from the Enchantress gear is that the skulls act as a specials disabler. The opponent can't do specials until after the skulls are finished, so it acts as a natural protection for Lobo if we want to tag him back in against someone with power bars, right? So we avoid that same problem with the separation and the short range of the first hit. So this is the alternative when you've got somebody who, like Arkham Knight Batman, who starts off with 2 bars. See how much more effective it would have been if we brought in Hal Jordan to disable the specials from the very beginning. Right? It leaves him vulnerable so that you can't just use your regular strategy, and shows you why Red Lantern Hal Jordan is actually quite important on a team like this. So what have we got so far? We've got Hal Jordan can tag in. Astro Harness protects him. He does a couple special ones for free where he doesn't lose any health. Strips all the gears. Then you tag Lobo back in as the last set of skulls drops on your opponent, letting him wait until he's close enough, until Lobo's close enough before starting his special 2. Yeah, nothing particularly interesting here. I mean, Batman's gonna have a bar of power because of Razzle Scimitar. And maybe just another demonstration. I mean, the best would be Red Lantern Hal Jordan, but watch. So you try to do a special 2, too much separation, doesn't knock out Batman. There's where you get one of the weaknesses. If you didn't have Red Lantern Hal Jordan, if you dealt with it properly, wouldn't have been a problem. So like with all specials dependent teams, I think it's a good idea to have a basic damage dealer as backup. In this case, it's Reverse Flash. I mean, he's got mediocre stats for the current game. He doesn't get a lot of love lately, but I think he's pretty effective. His passive makes him a little bit hardier against teams that have tag-in hazards that make you not want to tag in Lobo right away. So he's also good at buying you time until whoever you're facing tags out. Heart of Darkness is the third gear on Lobo, and it's great on him because any specialist running 10-2 Totem Master's Death Cart needs to have a power gen boost to really consistently get that second bar of power on tag-in, and it also has extra special 2 bonus effects, which just makes it even better. And the good thing, so for example, Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan, you generally don't want to trigger his passive because it makes him a little bit more dangerous, but because we're disabling gears with our Enchantress gear setup, it's not really a problem. Yeah. And so, yeah, this fight, it would have been way better to use Red Lantern Hal Jordan to start against an opponent with power, and it would have just protected us. But, I mean, this team is pretty darn good, and I think this is the way to unlock the potential of Lobo. I should point out, too, this is the first time using this team after coming up with the concept. So I think there's a lot of things that could be better. I mean, a lot of times when you use a team for the first time, you don't really get a sense of the nuance and the different things that you want to do as an approach to get the most out of it. And you just have to play it a little bit more as you go. So it's despite, yeah, and you think we would have been using or focusing on a Lobo team from a long time ago because, you know, Lobo is our channel avatar. But the problem, I think, really is that unless you do something to overcome his limitations, you're not really making an effective team with him. I think the second hit of Lobo's special 2 is probably the weakest, does the least amount of damage. But even so, plenty of juice there. Okay, wow. That's a decent amount of damage. And he actually did 92,000 damage on the second last hit of his special 2 the first time he was doing it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything special about this team. I think there's a lot of teams, if you set up properly, many of the fights are going to be uneventful. I mean, this is basically going to happen exactly how we expect it to. It's very much like the new 52 Wonder Woman team, right? Like, she's set up so that the team is really good, but a lot of times if the other team doesn't have enough defensive capabilities, she's just going to mow through them without anybody else coming into play. And that's what that was. 3 special 2s, over 300,000 damage. So here's an issue. Cassandra Cain Batgirl has Rags, Razagul Scimitar, so she starts with a bar. This time we're going to do it the right way and not tag in Lobo right away. The alternative is to let Reverse Flash eat one of them because he's got his passive. The first time it almost always triggers. Her bar of power is gone. Now, I guess smarter probably would have been Red Lantern Hal Jordan, but sometimes maybe you want to save him in case you need to face Astro Harness later, and he's perfect for that, where he strips off the Astro Harness gear, making it a much faster fight like this. So this first one, you don't want him to do special right away. There you go. And we saw the animation for all 3 gears shattering. She no longer has Astro Harness. It's not great that we lost all his health, but yeah, that was much faster. We're basically opening her up like a can of sardines, taking away her protection, and done. And we have more than enough horsepower that if... this team's going to be interesting. First opponent is Bronze, so we can tag in Lobo immediately because whiffing on the first 2 hits of Lobo's special 2 will still be enough to knock him out. The main danger is if he gets knocked out, if the opponent gets knocked out before Lobo gets a second bar of power, which did not happen. So she's going to be a little bit dangerous when she has her special 2 because she's going to... Well, there she goes. It does extra damage. She's got more hits at the end. And so we're going to get protected. I think the problem here is that she's doing so much damage with her special 2. Yeah, she's knocking us out. So now we've got to protect ourselves. Once her special animation finishes, we're going to disable or strip away all her gears. We're disabling her special. Unfortunately, tagged it. Oh, shoot. All right. Riddler's Cane, which should only trigger 21% of the time. So 1 in 5. It's triggered once in 2. Oh, two times out of 3. The only saving grace is that we don't have to generate more power because we're kind of screwed if we do. And the problem is when Jessica Cruz tags in, she's going to be ready to really... Oh, and perfect. We stripped all our gears. She would have been really ready to hurt us. So it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition. Are we going to have enough juice to outlast her? So we want to do a little bit more damage. And by the skin of our teeth. Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't able to disable specials, we would have been totally toasted. Red Lantern Hal Jordan been like that. And also the free specials of Astro Harness. You see the benefit of that. We stopped losing health when the invulnerability was there. So in Justice 2 Superman, we don't need to wait. We can take him in immediately because we don't care about the separation. Any one of the hits triggers his passive and eliminates the shield. And one of the interesting things would be, I've never really paid attention. It's probably worth this figuring out whether a special 2 that doesn't hit but actually finishes all steps counts towards his passive, like we just saw against Injustice 2 Superman Shield. Okay. So what's interesting is that I think we did 6 special 2s. The 5th special 2 hit Joker, and the first shotgun hit. The second last hit of special 2 did 125,000 worth of damage, which is pretty darn good. I don't know if that works with the math to help us decide whether that first attack against Superman counts, but I'll take it. Yeah, Raven is an interesting kind of problem because you don't want her passive trigger against Red Hal, because then you basically make him useless when he tags in. So you got to be really careful there. We stripped all our gears exactly like how we wanted to. Oh, and we knocked her out. Perfect. Let's do that again here because we want to get rid of Astro Harness. Make her vulnerable to Lobo. And because she's got such a good special 2, there we go, stripped all her gears. Because she's got such a good range special 2 and a passive. And not only that, we took away her power. And we've done a bunch of special 2s. We've sort of... Ooh! 100,000 damage on his second last hit of the special 2. Yeah, so we've given Lobo a chance to sort of prime his special 2. And, all right, so this kind of fight is interesting. I think this is the biggest pain in the butt kind of Arkham team because Arkham Knight Harley Quinn is an entry hazard, so we don't like to tag in too much when she's off the screen. Limits our Lobo strategy. Arkham Knight Batgirl saves her teammates, so whichever one of our team is active to trigger her sort of coming in to save her teammate is going to be vulnerable. So while we're immune, we're going to get a free special 2. We're going to get his health down. And I think, I mean, we don't want to lose. Oh, perfect. This is as good as it'll get. We're going to get rid of her because she's preventing Lobo from being as effective. But let's, if we get lucky, we will not lose Lobo here. And we want to take her out as quickly as possible. But that's going to be difficult because Arkham Harley Quinn is the entry hazard and our main damage dealer now is Lobo. So maybe if Red Lantern Hal Jordan can really take her out, it'll save one of the protections that she has for Arkham Knight. Oh, and maybe not. Too late. So let's try to at least get rid of him. And his health is getting low enough now that Red Lantern that he's going to be less useful to us. He's got one more invulnerability, so it's going to be useful. The good thing is Reverse Flash is going to be protected if we have to worry about Batgirl doing one of her potentially unblockable specials on us. I should probably practice more with Reverse Flash doing his infinite juggle. But maybe on the next round with his team. Maybe next week. Monday or Tuesday when we do our next Q&A, we'll have a little bit of this kind of fighting running in the background. Yeah, what could have been potentially really dangerous. I think if they'd geared Arkham Knight Batgirl a little better, this would have been a more dangerous team to us. And that was it. So, great team. Great characters. We love Lobo. And there's your bonus video for this week. And we'd like to thank our patrons on Patreon. That would be Victor Gomez, Consul Peasant and Edwoon at the top tier last word, Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn, Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, and Eddydoo at the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer 241, Pavu RS, Gavin, Mallott, and Isfar E at the gratitude level. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Here's a little bit of bonus clip with Lobo trying to charge up his special 2 to make it even more powerful. Komoda.